Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today I'm going to be sharing how I make puff pastries for Ramadan. It's a simple, easy recipe and it's so nice to enjoy after a long day of fasting. This is actually one of the recipes I prep ahead of time, like before Ramadan starts, and it becomes so easy to just defrost and bake, you know, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes before iftar time. So we start off with this puff pastry. I'll make sure I link the brand that I use, but I think any puff pastry will do. One thing to keep in mind, it's important that you actually roll your puff pastry out before you use it. Because this comes frozen already, one thing you do want to keep in mind is try not to put it in the microwave to defrost. Oftentimes, because this is so buttery, it just like melts and is so hard to work with if you just do it too much or whatever. So the safest thing you could do is just put it on the counter for a bit, let it get to room temperature so that it's easier to roll out. So as you can see, I'm rolling it out vertically, and then I will start also working on it horizontally, because what we'll basically be doing is taking the khima, putting it in, and then folding it over. So just like a little fold. So one thing to remember too is don't roll it out too much. You don't want it to be too thin, otherwise it's not going to be as puffy as you like, and then we won't have that delicious crunch of the puff pastry. The other reason I love this recipe so much is because if you are making this ahead of time and you just want to make a bunch and freeze it for later, you can certainly do that. You don't have to bake it right away. So if you are planning on prepping this beforehand, just keep in mind that when you're freezing things, you don't want things to stick. And one way to avoid that is by using saran wrap or a baking sheet on your piece of paper. On your plate, and then stack. Once you have once that plate is full, putting another baking sheet or saran wrap, and then stacking it up, and then putting in the freezer. The next day they won't stick to each other, and they're easy to take off, and you can put them in a freezer bag. So as you can see, I was able to roll it out to my desired size, and they're all of different shapes and sizes. This is a very quick and easy prep that I love to do, so I'm not too crazy about what size they need to be, and they all need to be uniform. But definitely if you're making this for a party or something, you can measure it out and do it that way. I've laid out the khima in little dollops. You could use a spoon. I like to use my hand just because it was just so much easier. To seal them, all you actually need is a bit of water. So put some of that water on the side and like just pressing down the corners. I know sometimes what my grandma would do, she would take like a decorative knife type of thing and cut it around the corners to give it a nice little swirl at the end. Another thing you could do to really dress up these puff pastries if you have people coming over for iftar is put an egg wash on them, and they'll give it a really nice gold finish in the oven. So this is a pretty easy process. It's important to remember, try to roll all the dough out and like just stack it up with saran wrap in between, so that it'll be so much easier for you to lay the khima in, apply the water, and fold it over. This is also a great activity to do with a partner or roommate, or your siblings. So one person is in charge of putting the khima in, and the other one is in charge of rolling it out. When you actually come to baking it, you bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. Sometimes you will get this golden brown finish, other times you won't, but to guarantee a golden brown finish, add some egg wash on top. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this recipe and this super easy meal prep idea for Ramadan.